The Knights of the Mnic Concord are often researchers, explorers, and field scientists. Today, we'll be following a Lacklian zoologist. Yuta Westwood, author of the widespread journal Red Wind, travels in the Silent Land and an account of the beasts that dwell there. Yuta is a knight from Little Lackley, a fortress city that started out as an outpost for fishermen and seafarers from the dukedom of Great Lackley. It is situated at the northernmost end of the Kermes, the great mountain range that separates the Mournish heartland from the eastern wastes. This conveniently gives Yuta and the other Lacklanders access to this foreign domain without the need for expensive and dangerous treks through the heartland's forests. Here, even a small party can travel in relative safety as long as they stay in the good graces of the Marquis. Our zoologist knight has taken full advantage of this fact, and the accounts of her numerous travels and the animals she has caught, seen, or heard tales of are somewhat popular in the other Mnic cities. In this video, we'll have a look at a select few of the creatures she has encountered, starting with a familiar face.
For the travelers of Kermes, no beast will be more common a sight than the mountain horse, which the Marquis names Garahiras. In the villages and in the city, carrying the processions of the high ladies and the burdens of the peasants, in the deepest valleys, on the highest mountain ridges, on the sheerest cliffs, or beneath your saddle, a day will not pass during which you do not see the traces of these numerous and adaptive beasts.
Okay. If you watched my videos before, you're probably well acquainted with the mountain horse already. Let's turn to another page. Perfect.
On the morning of the 6th day, after leaving Jadarmundum, we discovered that a theft had taken place from among our food rations. After some initial confusion, the culprit was found. A Stonejack had attempted to run off with a whole leg of goat. Only its greed allowed us to catch up with the little burglar, some 200 meters from our camp. These flightless carnivores normally feast on bugs, small rodents, and carrion. They live in small flocks, but hunt alone, using the sharp tooth-like protrusions of their beaks and the single claw on each wing to catch and devour their prey. Their effectiveness as hunters has prompted the nickname murdered chickens from my Ammonite companions, while the Meraki call them Imnian, the little daggers. Stonejacks are not afraid to approach humans, but pose us no danger. In both size and taste they are similar to the chicken, but with a pleasant, gamey flavor.
This little dinosaur-like creature was really fun to design. For some time I toyed around with the idea of having them be eosocial, with something akin to a bee or ant queen, a queen hen, being the matron of the flock, with a different design, much larger, staying stationary in a nest in a cave, hatching eggs, as the many small workers of the flock bring back food. This kind of behavior would be cool to see in a larger animal, but I want to save the idea for another animal in the future.
There are those among our Mnic kin that are yet unaware of the dangers of the Kermes. They say that the Silent Mountains, lacking the abundance of predators of the jungle, is a desolate place that pose no real challenge to true Ammonite. A statement so absurd in its stupidity that it hardly deserves a mention. These ignorants would quickly change their tune had they seen what I saw when we crossed the hunting grounds of the Maiolor. These remarkable killers excel in two areas. Stealth, their auburn pelts blend completely with the Red Mountains. They run and climb at great speed without a sound. And strength in numbers. While the typical predator of the Mournish forests is a solitary hunter, the mountain cats band together in great skulks, often numbering 20, 30 or more. They follow a strict hierarchy and display impressive unity and devotion in their pursuit of prey. 12 days beyond the Silver Gate, our crew, which numbered 7 at the time, was set upon by the Maiolor. The moon was but a green silver that night, and from the darkness surrounding our campfire, its flickering orange light suddenly reflected a pair of feline eyes. Then from another pair, and another, and more until they could no longer be counted with ease. By now the entire camp had awoken by the shouts of the watchmen. We formed a ring around the fire and screamed at the nightly assailants, waving torches and bare, glistening steel. The cats only crept closer until they, in a sudden, coordinated move, leaped forward. Most of their skulk had correctly identified the weakest member of our party, a fellow Lacklander by the name Leo Farland, whom I had taken on as my servant, and set upon him with claw and fang. We defended ourselves with sword and shield, and was saved only by the wearing of our armor, even in rest, a habit seldom shared by the Marakian traveler, who is the usual victim of the Maiolor. We slew 10 and 6 of the beasts before they fled into the night. Our mounts had torn free from their ropes and scattered during the battle. We found 4 of them, half eaten, some distance from our camp in the morning. Young Leo Farland had been gouged in the neck and thigh and lasted 2 days before dying of his wounds. We gave him a mountain burial. The pelts of the Maiolor are thick and warm, and they will sell for a good price at the market. Their meat is tough, stringy, and when cooked, smells like piss. I would not recommend it.
A creature that I have mentioned before, and that is very popular among the Maraki, is the giant Sowbug. Rare, giant isopods that live in caves in the mountains. A large one may reach the size of a regular cat, and managing to spot one is considered a sign of good fortune, as I mentioned in my Nightbreaker video. For this reason, the luck-bringing Sowbug is sometimes even incorporated in jewelry, such as brooches and rings. Another cave-dwelling creature, and one that is significantly less desired to be encountered, is the Great Worm. The Maraki name is Eokuge, meaning Great Snake. They are large enough to pose a real threat to a human on their own, but thankfully rarely leave their caves and tunnels. Sometimes they can poke their heads out of a crevice to bathe it in the sunlight. They are omnivorous and feast regularly on underground mushrooms and lichens, ancient fish swimming in the subterranean lakes, and other cave-dwelling fauna and flora. Part of their diet consists of the aforementioned Sowbugs, which is a reason sighting one of the great worms is considered a sign of extremely bad luck. Not even our zoologist, Yuta, has seen one with her own eyes. An eyewitness she interviewed described it as a terrifying monster with the body of a snake, the fangs of a wolf, the whiskers of a cat, and the claws of a great hunting vulture. Terrifying indeed.
On our way back from the excursion, we stopped to wash ourselves in one of the hot springs for which the Kermes are known. This one was of extraordinary size, in width while not in depth. I felt my way across the bottom, but could not discover by sight or touch anything inhabiting the water. We did, however, see, as we set up camp a short distance upwind from the pool, a group of mountain apes coming down to bathe in the hot water, just as we had. They can be aggressive and dangerous, but this group seemed content to leave us alone, and we were happy to do the same to them, as it allowed us to study their behavior while resting. Their actions seemed at times almost intelligent, and it made me wonder about their connection to the cryptic Roo folk of the mountain of which the Maraki are so afraid. Emnonites in the southeastern crescent of the Rose of the World are certainly well acquainted with the little lantern macaque, also known as the looting macaque or Canaan footman. The explorer Roman Folks writes in his collection of stories how the Agir believed that the lantern macaque, upon reaching an age of 144, will change completely in both shape and size into a rare and formidable beast they have named the sage macaque, and which they worship like a god. I spotted one of these regal beasts at the very edge of the northeastern forest, and it occurred to me that the sage macaque has much more in common with the mountain ape than its forest sistren. The lack of a tail, its size, and its ability to ornament itself with simple items and wield primitive tools. Is it possible it is simply a higher form of a mountain ape, in accordance to Ben Themerus Varun's widespread theory of ascension? I aim to study in depth in my forthcoming expeditions.